Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Carlee Russell? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case. It's quite brief. Move to the timeline of the incident, then offer my analysis. In 2023, 25-year-old Carlee Nicole Russell was a nursing student who lived with her parents in Hoover, Alabama. She went by the name Carlee. The city of Hoover is about 10 miles south of Birmingham. Carlee had a bachelor's degree in psychology. Now moving to the timeline of the incident. On Thursday, July 13, 2023, at about 8:20 p.m., Carlee Russell left her part-time job at the Woodhouse Day Spa in Birmingham. She stopped at a Mediterranean cafe about 4 miles away to pick up food for herself and for her mother. Carlee departed for home at around 9 p.m. in her red Mercedes-Benz. She was driving south on Interstate 459. At 9:34 p.m., she pulled over near mile marker 11, right before exit 10, and called 911 to report a boy walking alone on the side of the interstate. She said the boy was about 3 or 4 years old and wearing a white t-shirt and a diaper. Carlee's 911 call was the only one received reporting a child on the interstate, despite the presence of many other vehicles on the roadway during this time. 2 minutes later, at about 9:36 p.m., Carlee called her brother's girlfriend and stopped to check on the boy. According to Carlee's mother, the brother's girlfriend heard Carlee say, "Are you okay?" Presumably the question was directed at the boy on the side of the interstate. The brother's girlfriend did not hear a response from the boy. Moments later, she heard Carlee screaming, followed by the sound of traffic on the interstate. The police arrived on the scene within 5 minutes, but could not find Carlee or the child. Carlee's Mercedes-Benz was on the shoulder of the interstate. The engine was running and the door was open. Presumably, they were referring to the driver's side door. Carlee's cell phone, hat, and wig were on the ground. Her purse was found inside her vehicle. The police desperately searched for Carlee without success as the case gained national attention. There was a traffic surveillance camera on Interstate 459 where Carlee stopped her vehicle. This camera captured Carlee's Mercedes-Benz pulling onto the shoulder of the interstate on the southbound side. The hazard lights of her vehicle were activated. Carlee's vehicle appeared to travel for several hundred feet on the shoulder before coming to a stop. She can be seen exiting the driver's side of her vehicle and walking around the back to the passenger side. Eventually, the police can be observed arriving at the scene. During the portion of the video that has been released, only Carlee can be seen by her vehicle. There is no child, there is no other vehicle, there is no kidnapper, no one else is there. There's a lot of traffic, but nobody else stopped. Again, Carlee reported seeing a child on the interstate, so he should have been there when she was pulling over. The police received a tip about a gray car and a man standing outside of Carlee's vehicle during the time of the incident, but they disregarded that tip because it did not match what had been captured on the video. On Saturday, July 15, 2023, 2 days after Carlee went missing, her family called the police during the evening and told them that Carlee had called them. Carlee stated that she was at the Red Roof Inn on Montgomery Highway in Birmingham, Alabama. It's not exactly clear what happened, but Carlee was not found there when people went looking for her. At about 10:44 p.m., Carlee arrived to her family's home. Evidently, she made her way there on foot. She was transported to a hospital. Carlee was treated and released. She made a statement to the police, but they have not disclosed what she said or what she was doing during the 49 hours she was missing. Now moving to my analysis. This case has been controversial. Some people believe Carlee's story. Other people have compared it to the case of Sherry Papini. This is a not-so-subtle way of implying that Carlee was lying and staged her own kidnapping. In addition to these two theories, there are those who believe that Carlee may have experienced a mental health episode. So there was no kidnapping, but there was no lying either. Carlee did not understand what she was doing. Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that Carlee was kidnapped, starting with the factors that support this theory. Carlee called 911 and said there was a boy on the side of the interstate. She also called her brother's girlfriend and said the same thing. Carlee was studying to be a nurse. In general, nursing students are thought of as honest and as having integrity. It is a helping profession. There are several reasons to believe that Carlee was inclined to tell the truth. Carlee was captured on video stopping her vehicle on the interstate, which is consistent with her 911 call. Carlee left her vehicle and other property behind, which is what would most likely happen during a kidnapping. If Carlee did not encounter someone else on the side of the interstate, how did she get away from the area before the police arrived? Again, they were there within 5 minutes. Even though there was no kidnapper captured on video surveillance, it's possible that Carlee was kidnapped. Perhaps the assailant arrived outside of the time frame of the video, which was released to the public. There appears to be a gap of a few minutes between when her car stopped and when the police could be seen arriving. It's also possible that Carlee made her way to an adjacent neighborhood and was kidnapped there. This would explain why the kidnapper was never seen. As far as the absence of a boy on the video surveillance, maybe Carlee was simply mistaken. When she stopped to help the person who she thought was a boy, it turned out to be a kidnapper. Now moving to the factors that contradict the theory that Carlee was kidnapped. Other than Carlee's Mercedes, no other vehicle can be seen stopping along the interstate in the surveillance video. There was no boy on the video, not on the side of the interstate or anywhere else in the area. Even if the camera somehow missed the child, it's difficult to believe that no other motorist would have reported seeing him. It is unusual to see a toddler on the interstate. Most people would pay attention to that and think to themselves they should call someone. Out of the myriad drivers and passengers passing by, Carlee was the only person to see the boy. Prior to stopping her vehicle, Carlee drove for several hundred feet on the shoulder with her hazard lights on. How could she have seen the boy from that distance? So she was the only person to see the boy, and she saw him at an incredible distance. Carlee exited her vehicle and was presumably interacting with a boy who was not actually there. In addition to no one else calling 911 about a boy along the interstate, there was no report about a missing child in the area. The location where Carlee stopped along the interstate just happened to be near a neighborhood and near an exit. This would be a good place to meet with somebody if one was perpetrating a hoax and wanted to get away quickly. It is very unusual for a kidnapper to use a child to lure a victim. If a kidnapper was going to do this, presumably they would have been targeting a female old enough to drive. How would the kidnapper have known that a female driver, alone in a vehicle, would be the one who stopped? It could have been a police officer who stopped, or multiple people could have stopped. There were many ways for this boy along the interstate tactic to fail. It would almost certainly have failed. The report about Carlee being at the Red Roof Inn seems suspicious. Maybe she was never there, but if she was, why would a perpetrator bring her there? Was he trying to make sure that Carlee had an even more disappointing kidnapping experience than expected? Also, why would he let her make a phone call? It's like this assailant forgot to read the kidnapper's handbook. When Carlee returned to her parents' home and made a statement to the police, why didn't the police immediately arrest the assailant? One would think that this would be a priority, mostly because of the kidnapping part. The police clearly know more information than they made public. If there was really a kidnapper on the loose, why haven't they notified the public about the danger? It seems like they don't believe there is a danger to the public. When considering all the evidence available at the time I'm making this video, do I think that Carlee Russell was kidnapped? No, I do not believe that she was kidnapped. If she really was abducted, Her experience represents one of the most incredible and unlikely kidnappings that has ever occurred. It is worth noting that even though I think that Carlee was never kidnapped, this doesn't necessarily mean that she was lying. As I talked about before, she may have been suffering from some type of mental health episode. This would also explain why the police have been so careful about releasing information. Maybe they don't want to accuse her of anything because they're not certain that she knew what she was doing. Carlee's mother made a statement during an interview that I found to be curious. She suggested that during the incident, Carlee had been mentally fighting for her life. Now, she also mentioned physical fighting, but this is still an unusual thing to say under the circumstances. Perhaps there was a kidnapping. Carlee's mind was the victim, and a mental health condition was the perpetrator. There is no way to know for certain. If this was a mental health episode, I don't think that any charges should be filed. This should really be dealt with by mental health counselors. One could argue that Carlee has suffered enough. She was away from home for 2 days. She is now the object of an incredible amount of scrutiny, and she may have spent time at a Red Roof Inn. It seems clear that more information will be available about this case later. I'll provide an update when that happens. Those are my thoughts on the case of Carlee Russell. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.